Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Divine Alignment. Today, I'm going to be sharing a bit more of a personal journey with you all. This feels a bit vulnerable for me, I'm not going to lie, but Spirit has really placed it upon my heart because if this helps one person, then it's absolutely worth it. And this is not something that I really shared ever, ever, that this has been a struggle for me. But if there's one thing that I'm learning through all of this, it's that our struggles don't make us weak. They make us human. And we all struggle in this life. And for many years, I thought that if I shared my struggles, it would disqualify me from the work that I did, that it would mean that I hadn't figured it out or that I wasn't able to help others. And so I kept a lot of it secret because I thought that who would want to work with me if they saw that I was still struggling. But the reality is that we all struggle. We all have struggles, and it doesn't make us any less capable to help other people. And I think that that is actually one of my greatest strengths, is all of the things that I have struggled with and overcome. But all of that being said, I also believe that we get to alchemize and take these struggles so that we may help and serve others. And I hope, that is my hope with sharing about this, is honestly, I can't believe that this happened. That after 10 years of not having a cycle, I got my cycle back. So I'm going to share a little bit about this story and how it really came to be and how I manifested this, because I shared about this on my stories on Instagram, 12/27/22. A manifestation 10 years in the making. Now, granted, when it initially went away, I was like, okay with it. But then over the years, as I've deepened in my spirituality and my journey in health, I've come to see the importance of having a cycle. And I realized that it's importance. It's importance. And what I didn't realize since getting it back is how much it really does disconnect you. I mean, I consider myself pretty tapped in and connected, and this has shown me that, wow, it is only the beginning. It's only the beginning, because it is our power as women. And that is what someone told me. It's what someone told me when, well, I'll get into all of that. But I want to so the reason why I'm sharing all of this is not to just like this isn't just like a story time. It is going to be a little bit of a story time, but like, it's also, I really want you to see through this that absolutely anything is possible. And my greatest hope for you is to see that there is not one way to do things. There is not a traditional way. There is not the way that society tells you to do things. It is not the way. Just because you go to a doctor or a healer or a practitioner or a whoever or someone on social media tells you something does not mean that it is right for you. Okay. And this has been my learning throughout these years of, okay, what resonates for me in my body and my soul, right? And what does my spirit, my soul, my body, my mind, What does she need? What does this eternal soul need? Because we all have a unique imprint, and I want you to really, really understand, hopefully through this sharing, is that there's not one way to do things. And when you could trust your soul and your guidance, that is when everything opens up. That is when you are led to the paths and the portals open up that just illuminate like exactly what you've been asking for. Because here's the thing, I actually did not ask for. I knew that something big was going to happen, but I didn't know that I was going to get my cycle back. I didn't know that this was going to be like the result of what I experienced. And so sometimes we plant these seeds of asking for something and we don't get it immediately, but we get it down the line. Or we've asked for something and this is like the stepping stone to getting it, right? So there's all of these other factors that play within energy. And that is the other thing that I have learned so deeply through this. Everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. So we can look at the physical world all we want, but until we truly, truly go within, we're going to keep playing this whack-a-mole in the physical world. We're going to keep putting out fires in the physical world and chasing things in the physical world. But when we can get underneath and go within and work with the energetics of things, we bypass all of that and things happen very quickly, because that is how we're actually designed and wired. Contrary to what society tells us, we're designed to be in alignment, to be in health, to be in well-being, to be in ease, to be in flow, to be in alignment. But we have these like little things that happen along the way that are redirections, or that are little like things that are signifying to us you're not on your path. And so it doesn't have to be long and arduous and take a long time to heal, but that's what we've been programmed to believe. And I really do stand behind this. Like I've always said, that we can heal very quickly. Like I had no idea that this was like, it truly blows my mind that this happened, because I wasn't like I said, I wasn't doing anything. Like it just happened. So what happened? So I guess before I get into that, I want to like just back up a little bit, because I think it's important to understand context. I lost my period 10 years ago from an eating disorder, and this was back in high school. So it's a little bit, I like give or take 10 years, because I went on birth control for a little bit of that time. But if you are not familiar, being on birth control is not it's actually not a real period. It is a forced shedding of the uterine lining, and it's not actually like the body's real cycle. So it is just making the body bleed, but it's not your hormones are not actually, it's forced. It's not it's not your hormones natural cycle and natural way. So that's why when you get off birth control, you'll notice like things take a while, because it's like your body realigning to its natural rhythms and cycles. So I lost my cycle. It was actually over 10 years ago, but then I was on birth control for a little bit. So I lost it due to the eating disorder and just being at such a low weight. And you know, it's our body's way of protecting us. You're not supposed to make babies if you are not healthy. And oh my gosh, this makes me emotional to talk about. So I went to treatment for an eating disorder years and years into struggling with it. I finally like came to a point where I was ready. I really had to be ready within myself. And I didn't go until I was in college. My freshman year of college, I finally just, I knew, because therapists were refusing to see me anymore because I was a liability, because of my low weight. And so I finally went to treatment, and in order to leave treatment, inpatient treatment, one of the criteria is that you regain your cycle. Well, our Western world is not very holistically minded. And so they were totally fine with just putting me on birth control and saying, you got your cycle back. Which again, not really a cycle. So I went on birth control and I come out of treatment. I think that I have a cycle, and that in and of itself was a very difficult phase for me, because you start to feel things that you hadn't felt. And I realized I should do a whole podcast on that, but for now we're just going to stick to the cycle. So I was on birth control for a few years, and then like with some other health stuff, I decided I really wanted to get off birth control because, again, it's not your body's natural rhythm, and I totally honor and support like whatever path you are on with your body. This is not me saying like birth control is bad. It's just not what I choose to do for my body. I want my body to be in sync with nature. And that's when I came to naturopathic school, that's when I really was like, no, we're done with the birth control. Like, I'm going to really be more in tune with Mother Earth and myself. And I also had some like other health stuff going on that I was like, maybe getting on birth control would help this. So I went off birth control, which towards the end of birth control, I actually wasn't even getting a cycle anymore. So I went off birth control and I didn't get my cycle back. So herein you can see that just because your body is like forcing you to bleed doesn't mean you're actually bleeding, right? It doesn't mean that you're actually like ovulating and really like healthy enough to have a cycle. So I didn't get my period back, and this was quite a few years ago, and I hoped that it would come back. But I want you to understand that like in the meantime, I started doing, I did so many things. I went to one naturopath who was very concerned about me not having a cycle, and she wanted me to do, it's called like the progesterone challenge. Oh my gosh, like the worst. So I did bioidentical hormones because I was very against, again, going on birth control. So I did the bioidentical hormones. My body was like, absolutely no. If you've listened before, I am a very sensitive soul. My body does not like toxins, synthetic things, even if it was bioidentical. So I did this, and my body absolutely rejected it. Like, I could not get out of bed. So this is just so you understand. I took one of these pills and I could not get out of bed the next day. I was so dizzy. I called her and I was like, I can't move. Like, what did you put in my body? And she was like, well, you just have to push through it. And I was like, okay, you're fired. This is not working. We're going to try something else. So I have done many blood panels and tests. I did cycle syncing, tried the bioidentical hormones. I tried gaining more weight. I changed my diet, incorporating more meat. Like, again, I really did try a lot of things. I tried energy medicine. I tried from scientific to the woo, like everywhere in between. And like I tried it all. And so I kind of just was like thinking, okay. Oh, and I also tried many herbs. Don Quai, that one, chase tree berry, Vitex, the same thing, Vitex chaseberry. So many tinctures and herbs and supplements. I've tried a lot of things. And and I kind of just surrendered that maybe it wasn't going to come back. what ended up happening, I'm still very amazed. I'm still very amazed at. And I'm not going to share the depth, I think, of the experience, but what happened was I woke up one day and I knew something very big was going to happen that day. I knew that something was going to be set in motion that was going to change my life. I can't describe it. I just felt this. I felt this very deeply. And I was led to go somewhere randomly. So I followed. And this is what I really want you to begin to see for yourself and within yourself and within your life. Where are you being led and guided to when it doesn't really make sense? So I was led to go to a cafe randomly. So I go there. At this place, I run into a friend. And this is so funny because we always see each other at this cafe. Like we keep meaning to get together and we only see each other at this place. So I see her and she comes over to me and she says, would you like to see this healer who's in town for a few days? I don't even think. Something just speaks through me and says, yes, yes. I don't know who it is. I have no idea. I have not even looked. I just say, yes, I would. So then I meet this healer, and next thing I know, I have a session lined up for the next day. The next day, as I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm thinking to myself, what on earth is happening? I have not like looked into who this person is. I have never met them before. I've never heard anything about them. And I'm going to go see them and do a session with them. And to which I heard, yes, you are. Because I've come to the point in my life where I can't not trust anymore. I can't not trust these wild synchronicities that just seem to happen out of nowhere because I know that nothing happens out of nowhere. I know this. So I go with an open mind and I do a session with this healer. What I really want to preface here is something that I have shared about for ages. While the healer is important, it's, are you ready? Are you ready to receive the healing? Are you a vibrational match? Are you following your guidance? Are you allowing someone to heal you? Are you in a space? I really don't believe that. Yes, I believe there are some very gifted healers and there are some not so gifted healers, but I believe there are two very important things at play. One, that you are ready, and two, that there is energetic coherence between you and whoever you are seeing. So this man that I saw, he just does energy work. I did not mention anything about my period, nothing. What I experienced with this man, I will actually never forget. And I believe he won't either. What was created between the two of us was an experience of the most unconditional, incredible love I have ever experienced. So much so that I couldn't think. I could not think later in that day, in that evening, because I just was like, what just happened? And as I spoke with him, I was like, does this happen in all of your sessions? He said, no. That was the first time it happened for him. again, this energetic coherence. And when I did this session, it was just like, okay, me at the beginning, I'm like, I'm not going to share everything. And here I am. I'm just sharing everything. I feel it's important and it's part of the story. And I really want you to just what I experienced was just the most unconditional cosmic love that, and it wasn't necessarily for him. It was the experience that was created between the two of us. So did this session, and I also received from him these energy patch sticker things. So 2 parts, the session and also these you can't even get them in the US. I looked them up. He's not from the US. He's from another country. Again, and he was in town for like 3 days. Anyways, he gives me these like energy stickers and I put one on my ovaries, and I was like looking up late after like 2 weeks. I'm like, should look, what are these? I can't even find them in the US. Like they don't even exist. And so 2 weeks after that, lo and behold, I have my cycle. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. But it wasn't out of nowhere. It was out of somewhere. What I believe happened, and who knows, my views and opinions might shift and change. It's twofold. I think this energy sticker, whatever thing, because I wore this thing for 2 weeks. He was like, wear it for 3 to 5 days. And I was like, I'm going to keep this thing there for a while. And the day after I took it off, I got my period. Part 1. The second part of it is unconditional love. Like when I say that I experienced love, you're probably like, okay, Jasmine, like you just have a crush on him. And I'm like, no, I don't think it's so hard for me to even put this into words. But what like I experienced, like this is where we're headed, just so you know, and can be made aware. 5D, potentially like 10D, whatever otherworldly, other dimension of love is what I experienced. This was not 3D. So this is where we're headed. You could touch someone and fall in love, experience the experience of falling in love. I spoke with my mentor and shared this experience with her. And she is just, she's a mentor, a friend, a mom. Like she is so incredible and has really profoundly shifted my life. And as she's a medium, a psychic, like all of these things. And so as I shared the experience with her, she was able to sense and tap in and feel all of these things. And she said, oh my gosh, like I'm getting emotional. She says, I've never felt this love that you experienced. She says, what you experienced was like the 0-point field. And receiving this was such confirmation to me, because I think as I had told a few good friends about it, they were like, no, you deserve this love. And I'm like, yes, we all deserve this love, but like, you don't, like, no, this is like otherworldly. So much so that my body just finally felt safe. My body was so fully seen. And I know so deeply within my soul that if all of us truly felt held, loved, and seen and witnessed for all of who we are, I really believe that like anything is possible. Healing of any kind, all depths and dimensions is possible, because it's not about what we do with our minds and figure out. It's about something deeper working through us. It's about aligning and connecting with the divine. It's about remembering. This felt like a remembering of a love, an experience of love that I just know so deeply within me is where I come from. And all of this happened because I just followed, because I just trusted, because I just listened to the voice that said, go here, when I was like, really? And because I just agreed to do something when it didn't make sense, but I was like, this is too divinely aligned for me to say no and to question it. And like, I really have gotten to this place of surrender where, and I'm still surrendering, like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I still have much to learn and understand on my journey of deeply trusting and deeply surrendering. But I feel that I've come a long way. It's not easy to trust the forces that don't make sense to our mind. It's not, okay? But when we do, magic opens up for us. And like miracles, it's like, this is our natural state. This is our natural state of just experiencing love and witnessing miracles through the divine being made through us. I could have never imagined that this was possible. I thought I had to do so many more things and try so many more avenues. And all of these things my linear mind was telling me, because this is what I've seen. This, like, that's how she got her cycle back. That's how she got her cycle back. She did this and she continued to do this and she had to do this. But I was doing those things. It doesn't mean that they don't work. It just means that there was something so much deeper for me to understand and witness and learn. And this is my journey. This is my journey of me understanding. Like, there is not one single other person like you. Therefore, no one else has the same journey and same blueprint of life. And if we can trust in the timing and the journey of ourselves, this is when we're led and guided, and miracles just happen. Because now we're living in alignment and harmony with our soul. It's not an easy place. It's not an easy place when we live in a time when there's more noise than ever before in history. Our ancestors and grandparents didn't have infinite amounts of people and content and experiences and guidance and teachings and wisdom and false wisdom at their fingertips. They just didn't. And so it's very important to cultivate discernment now more than ever. And I believe more than ever to tune into our soul. It's the most valuable tool we have right now. The most valuable tool is trusting the guidance of our soul, trusting our body, coming into our body, which, side note, I'm going to share here, because just yesterday I realized, so 1 year ago, I received the guidance I was going to channel a book. They told me what it was going to be called and everything. Channeled the book. It took me 3 weekends to channel. And then I just sat on it. Just sat on it because I didn't want to edit it. Finally started editing it. And actually just the other day, yesterday, I finished the first edit. And I see now that like I had to go through this as part of the journey of this book. This was the missing piece. This was the missing piece. And this book is about embodiment and about, you all will hear more about it soon. I had to go through this piece and receive the few nuggets that I added in. There's so much in store for all of us. And I really, again, my aim and goal for this is to, one, inspire you and remind you that anything is possible. Truly, even if it doesn't make sense to your mind, anything is possible. And secondly, follow your truth, follow your guidance, follow your soul. There's no other place that will lead you to deeper satisfaction and fulfillment and purpose and pleasure and presence than your soul. Really, truly. It's the biggest lie we've been sold, that if we follow someone else, that we will find happiness within ourselves. It's just not the case. It's not the case. Everything is within you. And so with that, thank you for receiving this part of my journey with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reminding yourself that everything and anything is possible. We're on this journey together. And so with that, my loves, I'm sending you all infinite love and light.